4 miles beneath the surface where light has never touched. There exist strange creatures the world was never supposed to see. Tonight, you'll journey deep into the pitch-black mysteries of the ocean, where creatures that science can barely explain hide in the endless abyss. A place where creatures glow without sunlight, where jaws unhinge, where eyes grow larger than baseballs, and life adapts in ways both beautiful and bizarre. A gentle warning, some of these creatures still haunt deep-sea divers today. Welcome, dear listener, to the Sleepless Academic. Here, we explore the most captivating corners of knowledge in a calm, gentle and thoughtful way, helping your mind to wander while your body drifts into restful stillness. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's midnight or dawn is gently peeking through the curtains, I invite you to let your thoughts slow, your breath deepen, and your curiosity awaken. Before you drift too far into the boundless mysteries of the sea, I'd love to know, where are you listening from tonight? Pop a comment below if you'd like. I read each one, and they always make this little corner of the internet feel a bit more connected. And if you enjoy these thoughtful explorations, please do give the video a gentle like and tap that subscribe button. That way, more sleepless minds can join us for these nightly explorations. It's a comfort to know that across this vast world others are tuning in, thinking, wondering, unravelling the mysteries of existence alongside you. Now, dim the lights, let the cool hum of your environment fade, allow your body to melt into the mattress beneath you. Feel free to gently let your eyes close, or follow along with half-lidded wonder. And as we descend deeper and deeper, know that you're safe here. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. The Goblin Shark, the Living Fossil. First discovered off the coast of Japan in 1898, the goblin shark is often referred to as a living fossil. With its lineage tracing back over 125 million years, this nightmarish creature has survived epoch after epoch, unchanged in its strange design. It lives in the deepest, darkest reaches of the ocean, typically found at depths between 330 and 4,300 feet, though some have been spotted even deeper. Preferring the twilight and midnight zones, the goblin shark avoids the surface, as if hiding its unsettling appearance from the light of day. Its most distinctive feature is its protruding jaw, hinged and extendable, capable of snapping forward at lightning speed to catch prey. When closed, its jaw resembles a grotesque underbite, but when open, it transforms. The jaws thrust forward, teeth exposed in a split-second strike like something out of an alien horror film. The goblin shark's body is flabby and pinkish grey, with skin so thin that its blood vessels shine through, giving it a sickly, translucent hue. It can grow up to 13 feet in length, but most adults average around 10. Unlike fast predators like great whites, the goblin shark moves slowly. It uses stealth and its hypersensitive electroreceptors to detect the electric fields given off by other animals. Once it senses prey, typically fish, squid or crustaceans, it lunges with its incredible jaws. Despite its monstrous appearance, the goblin shark is not dangerous to humans. Encounters are extremely rare, and the few captured specimens usually die quickly outside their deep-sea habitat. In many ways, it is less of a threat and more of a ghost, an ancient alien echo of a time before humans ever walked the earth, quietly drifting in the shadows, unseen by most, but unforgettable to those who do glimpse it. Chapter 2. The Frilled Shark, the Serpent of the Deep. In 2007, Japanese fishermen caught something so strange it initially baffled marine scientists. It had the body of an eel, the face of a shark, and a mouth lined with 300 needle-sharp teeth arranged in rows like Velcro hooks. What they had found was the elusive frilled shark, a creature rarely seen alive. This shark lives deep, often below 3,000 feet in the cold black waters off the coasts of Japan, New Zealand, and parts of the Atlantic. With an elongated, almost serpentine body, it looks more like a mythical sea serpent than a modern fish. The frilled shark gets its name from the frilly, gill-like structures on either side of its head, 6 pairs in total, giving it a slightly ruffled appearance. Its skin is dark brown, and its fins are small, lending it an undulating swimming style that's more like a snake's slither than a shark's powerful sprint. But its mouth is where the real terror lies. Rows upon rows of backward-facing trident-shaped teeth. Each tooth is designed not to kill, but to trap. Once something enters that mouth even slightly, the teeth prevent escape. Squid, small fish, and other deep-sea dwellers often fall victim to its lightning-quick lunges. Scientists believe this shark can bend and coil its body like a spring before launching forward to snatch prey. It's a predator of patience, hiding in darkness, sensing with motion, waiting for the perfect moment. Frilled sharks have been on Earth for at least 80 million years. In fact, they've changed so little over the eons that they are considered living relics of prehistoric times. Though they are not dangerous to humans, they are haunting, like a ghostly whisper from an age when sea monsters ruled the waves. Chapter 3. The Giant Isopod, the Deep-Sea Armadillo. Now, let us shrink our scale, for while some ocean horrors are huge, others are small, alien and armoured. Meet the giant isopod, discovered in 1879 by French zoologist Alphonse Milne Edwards in the Gulf of Mexico. At first glance you might think someone dropped a giant pillbug into the ocean. In fact, that's not too far off. Giant isopods are relatives of the common woodlouse, but they've adapted to the pressure and chill of the deep sea by growing massive. Some specimens reach up to 20 inches long, making them among the largest crustaceans of their kind. Their armoured exoskeletons look like medieval plate armour, segmented, pale and shiny, like something forged for an underwater night. They have 14 legs, 2 long antennae, and compound eyes made up of over 3,000 individual lenses, perfect for seeing in the dim twilight. Giant isopods are scavengers. They feast on the fallen. Whales, fish, and squid that die and sink become banquet tables for these patient diners. In the pitch-dark world they inhabit, meals are few and far between, so the isopod is built to binge. One individual in captivity went over 5 years without eating, living entirely on stored fat. They reside mostly on the seabed, between 550 and 7,000 feet deep, often in the Atlantic, Pacific and Indian Oceans. Though eerie in appearance, they are harmless to humans and fascinating in their resilience. In some strange way, they resemble us. Not in form, but in function. They endure the cold, the pressure, the hunger, waiting for sustenance in a world that rarely gives it. Strange, ancient, and armoured against the void, they are the quiet survivors of the abyss. Chapter 4. The Fangtooth, the monster with a permanent snarl. If you were to take a snapshot of fear, a still image of something born from your nightmares, it might resemble the fangtooth fish. First discovered in the late 19th century, the fangtooth is a compact yet terrifying predator found in oceans worldwide, usually at depths between 650 and 6,500 feet. It's small, typically less than 7 inches long, but its appearance is anything but innocent. Its name is no exaggeration. This little monster boasts the largest teeth in proportion to its body of any fish in the ocean. The 2 lower fangs are so large, in fact, that the fish has evolved special pouches on the roof of its mouth just to sheath them when it closes its jaws. If it didn't, the teeth would puncture its own brain. Its body is dark brown to black, armoured with a thick, leathery skin and tough scales, as if it were built for battle. The head is large and bulbous, the eyes small and opaque, and the mouth, when open, forms a terrifying grimace, with razor-sharp fangs always exposed. Despite its ghastly look, the fangtooth is nearly blind. In the absence of light, it relies heavily on smell and lateral line detection to sense vibrations in the water, picking up on the faintest movements of prey. It hunts squid and smaller fish with quick lunges, swallowing them whole in the blackness. When young, fangtooths live in shallower waters and look almost entirely different. Small, translucent and less fearsome. But as they mature, they morph into the spiky horrors that haunt the midwater world. Though fearsome in appearance, they're not aggressive toward humans and pose no threat, but their very existence serves as a humbling reminder. Even the smallest corners of the deep sea hold creatures as fierce as anything in legend. In the eternal dark, sharp teeth go a long way. Chapter 5. The Barrelly Fish, the Transparent-Headed Enigma. Imagine drifting through the blackness of the ocean and seeing a fish whose head is completely transparent. Its eyes, green orbs, float inside its skull, able to rotate and scan upward through the dome of its clear head. This is the barrelay fish, first discovered in 1939 and one of the most otherworldly beings ever encountered in the deep. It's usually found between 1,300 and 2,600 feet down off the coast of the Pacific, from California to the Bering Sea. It's a small fish, around 6 inches long, with a silvery body and horizontal fins that allow it to hover perfectly still in the water. But its most astounding feature is its head, which is see-through like jelly, revealing the green lenses of its tubular eyes inside. These eyes don't look forward. They point straight up, designed to scan the water column above for prey like jellyfish or small drifting animals. If it spots something, the eyes can rotate forward, helping it zero in before it rises slowly to snatch the meal. Its transparent dome protects its sensitive eyes and allows it to absorb more light in the darkness, an evolutionary masterpiece in optical design. Scientists didn't know how the barrelay used its eyes until fairly recently. For decades they thought the eyes were fixed, but with advanced underwater cameras, researchers observed the eyes moving inside the head, like floating periscopes inside a space helmet. Harmless to humans, the barrelay is a gentle marvel. It doesn't need speed or aggression, just clarity. And in a world of pitch black, it sees without being seen. Chapter 6. The Giant Squid, the Kraken of Reality. For centuries, sailors told tales of monstrous tentacled beasts rising from the deep to pull ships into the abyss. Most dismissed them as myth, but then the evidence began to surface. Dead squid the size of small buses washed ashore, with tentacles up to 30 feet long. Circular scars appeared on whales, matching the grip of powerful suckers. And then, in 2004, the first live images of a giant squid were finally captured by Japanese scientists in the wild. The giant squid is no legend, it's real, and it's massive. These elusive cephalopods can grow up to 43 feet in length, with eyes the size of dinner plates, some of the largest eyes in the animal kingdom. Why so big? To catch the faintest glimmer of bioluminescence from potential prey or predators in the pitch-black ocean. They reside at depths of 1,000 to 3,000 feet and are rarely seen alive. Much of what we know comes from carcasses, predator analysis, and deep-sea exploration. They feed on deep-sea fish and smaller squid, using 2 long feeding tentacles lined with powerful suction cups, some with sharp, serrated rings for gripping. Perhaps the most fascinating detail, these giants are prey for another elusive leviathan, the sperm whale. Evidence of colossal undersea battles between the two has been found in whale stomachs filled with squid beaks and on their skin covered in suction scars. Giant squid have 3 hearts, blue blood, and a brain as complex as some mammals. They're fast, intelligent, and capable of incredible bursts of speed using jet propulsion. They're not considered dangerous to humans, they live too deep and avoid the surface, but the sheer size and mystery surrounding them stir ancient fears. They're the closest thing we have to a real-life kraken, and they prove that the ocean still holds secrets too big to ignore. Chapter 7. The Deep-Sea Dragonfish, the predator that glows in the dark. Far below the reach of sunlight, in the silent twilight zone of the ocean, there swims a creature whose very existence defies nature's norms. With glowing organs, transparent teeth, and an ability to become nearly invisible, the deep-sea dragonfish is one of the most fascinating and fearsome predators in the blackest corners of the sea. First discovered in the early 20th century, the dragonfish belongs to a family of deep-sea dwellers known as Stomidae. It typically lives between 650 and 5,000 feet below the surface, although some species have been found as deep as 7,000 feet. Despite its name, the dragonfish is quite small. Most adults grow to just 6 or 7 inches in length, but what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for in sheer evolutionary elegance. Let's begin with its appearance. Its body is long, sleek, and almost eel-like, covered in dark, scaleless skin that helps it blend seamlessly into the dark waters around it. What truly sets it apart, though, are the light-producing organs known as photophores that run along its sides and under its eyes. These glowing spots emit a cold blue-green bioluminescent light, which the dragonfish uses to attract prey and communicate with others of its kind. But its most chilling feature lies in its jaw. The dragonfish has long, needle-like fangs that curve inward, too large to fit inside its own mouth when it's closed. Its teeth are transparent, an unusual trait that makes them virtually invisible in the ocean's inky darkness. Recent studies have shown that these teeth are made of nanostructured materials that scatter very little light, allowing the dragonfish to strike without warning. And then there's the barbel, a long chin-mounted filament tipped with a glowing lure. Much like an anglerfish, the dragonfish uses this bioluminescent appendage to dangle light in front of its face, drawing in curious prey. Once a small fish or shrimp ventures close enough, the dragonfish snaps its jaws with astonishing speed, often swallowing its meal whole. What's even more astonishing is that the dragonfish can produce red bioluminescence, a rare trick in the deep sea. Most deep-sea creatures can only detect blue and green light, as these are the only wavelengths that penetrate the ocean's depths. But the dragonfish's unique photophores allow it to shine red light like a flashlight, illuminating its prey without being detected. It is in effect hunting with night vision in a world where no one else can see. Its stomach is highly expandable, allowing it to consume prey nearly half its own size. After a successful ambush, it will drift slowly in the water to digest, its glowing body fading into shadow once more. Despite their terrifying traits, deep-sea dragonfish are harmless to humans. In fact, very few people have ever seen one alive. Most are studied from specimens caught in deep-sea trawls, their delicate bodies rarely surviving the sudden change in pressure as they're brought to the surface. Yet, in their own domain, the dragonfish is a ghostly assassin, a silent, glowing predator perfectly adapted to a world of darkness. There is something elegant in its menace, something strangely beautiful in the way it hunts and hides. It is not a monster in the traditional sense, but it is undeniably strange and haunting and unforgettable. Chapter 8. The Black Swallower, the fish that eats prey twice its size. In the crushing depths of the ocean, where food is scarce and every meal could be your last for weeks or even months, nature favours the bold and the strange. Meet the black swallower, Chiasmodon niger, a fish that lives in the deep western Atlantic, typically at depths between 2,000 and 10,000 feet. At first glance, it doesn't seem particularly fearsome. It grows to only about 9 inches in length and has a relatively unremarkable shape. But what makes it extraordinary is its jaw-dropping ability to consume prey far larger than itself, sometimes twice its own length and 10 times its mass. The black swallower has a uniquely adapted jaw structure and an elastic stomach that can expand like a balloon. Its lower jaw juts out sharply, forming a wide mouth that can unhinge, allowing it to engulf prey much larger than it could otherwise manage. Once the prey is swallowed, the fish's stomach stretches to accommodate it, bulging grotesquely as the meal slowly digests. There have been cases where dead black swallowers have floated to the ocean surface, their bellies grotesquely distended with undigested prey. Sometimes they eat such large victims that decomposition begins before the fish can fully digest them, releasing gases that bloat the stomach and force the swallower upwards to its doom. It's a dangerous gamble, but one that often pays off. In a world where food is unpredictable, this extreme feeding strategy ensures that the black swallower can make the most of any opportunity. Whether it's a small lanternfish or a much larger herring, once it's within reach, it becomes fair game. The black swallower's body is dark brown to pitch black, helping it remain nearly invisible in the deep sea's ambient darkness. It moves slowly, patiently stalking its prey, waiting for the right moment to strike. Despite its horrifying eating habits, the black swallower is no threat to humans. It lives too deep to interact with divers or swimmers, and its size is far too small to pose any danger. Still, its existence is a reminder of just how flexible and frightening survival strategies can become when the environment demands it. What's perhaps most eerie about the black swallower is its quiet tenacity. It lives in silence, in cold, crushing pressure, in an eternal night, surviving not with speed or strength, but with an unyielding capacity to adapt, to take in more than it seems capable of, to risk everything for a single meal. It is one of the ocean's strangest predators, not because it fights, but because it devours, whole, entire, in one dark, hungry gulp. Chapter 9. The Harlequin Toadfish, the Sound of the Deep. Imagine descending into the deepest parts of the ocean and hearing a sound, a growl, a low, croaking vibration that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere. That sound might be the call of the harlequin toadfish, a creature more bizarre than terrifying, but one whose strange behaviour makes it a standout among the deep sea's eerie inhabitants. Found primarily in the tropical Atlantic and Caribbean, this rare species of toadfish, Sanopus splendidus, was first properly identified in the early 1990s. It lives along coral reef drop-offs and deep sandy bottoms, often burrowed into rocky crevices or hiding beneath thick sponges. Visually, the harlequin toadfish is striking. It has a flattened body, a wide, blunt head, and mottled skin patterned in whites, browns, and yellows, helping it blend perfectly with coral and seafloor debris. Its eyes are small and sunken, and its mouth is large, lined with rows of tiny, needle-sharp teeth. But what makes this creature truly bizarre is its voice. Toadfish are one of the few groups of fish that can produce audible sounds. They have specialized muscles along their swim bladders that contract rapidly to create low-frequency vibrations, similar to the way a drum produces sound. The harlequin toadfish uses this ability to attract mates, ward off rivals, and possibly communicate with others in its hidden domain. These sounds can be surprisingly loud, some even audible to divers. The croaking, droning calls are eerie, especially when heard in the pitch-black waters of the deep, echoing through rocky canyons and coral tunnels. The toadfish is mostly sedentary. It waits quietly, motionless, and ambushes small crustaceans, mollusks, and fish that wander too close. Its coloration provides perfect camouflage, and it can go days without moving, simply waiting for a snack to drift by. It's not dangerous to humans, but it does have venomous spines along its dorsal fin that can deliver a painful sting if handled. As such, it's best admired from a distance. The harlequin toadfish reminds us that fear isn't always visual. Sometimes it's felt, heard, experienced in strange sounds echoing in the dark. The deep ocean isn't silent. It hums, it growls, it whispers. And creatures like this are the voices in that lonely choir. Chapter 10. The Goblin Shark, the living fossil of nightmares. If nightmares had a mascot in the deep ocean, it would be the goblin shark. With its alien-like snout, pinkish-grey skin and extendable jaws that snap forward like a spring-loaded trap, this creature is one of the most bizarre and unsettling beasts ever discovered beneath the waves. The goblin shark, Mitsukurina austoni, was first described in the late 19th century, with early specimens found off the coast of Japan. Since then, it's been spotted in deep waters all around the world, from the Gulf of Mexico to the coasts of Australia and Portugal. It usually inhabits depths between 300 and 4,000 feet, but some have been found as deep as 4,300 feet, making it a true resident of the twilight and midnight zones. The goblin shark grows to an average of 10 to 13 feet long, though some reports suggest individuals up to 20 feet have been found. Its most distinctive feature is its long, flat snout or rostrum, which is covered in electroreceptors that allow it to detect the faintest electrical pulses of nearby prey. In the pitch black, when eyes are nearly useless, this sixth sense becomes its deadliest weapon, but it's the jaws that truly set the goblin shark apart. Normally tucked beneath its flattened head, the jaws can suddenly shoot forward by several inches when it attacks. They're lined with razor-sharp, needle-like teeth that curve inward, perfect for snagging slippery prey like squid, crustaceans, and deep-sea fish. This spring-loaded jaw mechanism is one of the fastest and most efficient strikes in the shark world. In one swift, lightning-quick lunge, the goblin shark can snap up a fish before it has time to flee, then retract its jaws back into place. Its body is soft and flabby, poorly suited for fast swimming, but in the stillness of the deep, speed isn't always necessary. Stealth, patience, and precision are far more valuable. The goblin shark drifts silently through the water, conserving energy, lurking in shadow. Its pink hue comes not from pigmentation, but from the visibility of blood vessels beneath its translucent skin. It gives the shark a ghostly appearance, as though it's not quite solid, not entirely real. Despite its fearsome look, the goblin shark is not dangerous to humans. It lives too deep to interact with swimmers, and its slow-moving nature makes it more of an ambush predator than a threat. Still, its appearance alone has earned it the nickname the vampire shark. For many years, this shark was considered a rarity. Few had seen one alive, and most encounters came from specimens accidentally hauled up by deep-sea fishing trawls. But with the advent of deep-sea submersibles and remote cameras, we've begun to see more glimpses of this elusive beast in its natural habitat. gliding eerily through the darkness, an echo of an ancient lineage that predates even the dinosaurs. The goblin shark is a living fossil, unchanged for over 125 million years. It is a creature from a time when monsters still ruled the seas, and in the deepest corners of the ocean, some monsters never left. Chapter 11. The Vampire Squid, the Phantom of the Deep. It sounds like the stuff of fantasy, a vampire that floats through the blackness of the ocean, cloaked in webbed arms, trailing fire and smoke in the form of glowing light. But the vampire squid is real, and it's far stranger than fiction. Vampiroteuthis infernalis, its scientific name, translates to vampire squid from hell. Discovered in the early 20th century, it has long fascinated scientists and deep-sea explorers alike. It lives in the oxygen minimum zone of the ocean, typically between 2,000 and 3,000 feet deep, where very few animals can survive. Here, the water is cold, pitch black, and almost devoid of oxygen, yet the vampire squid thrives. Roughly the size of a football, the vampire squid has a gelatinous jelly-like body, and is not a true squid or true octopus, but a strange hybrid with features of both. Its skin is dark red to black, its body is covered in soft rubbery tissue, and it has 8 arms connected by a cloak-like webbing, giving it the appearance of a deep-sea Dracula in full regalia. The inside of its arms is lined with rows of soft spines called chiri. These are not used for grabbing or tearing prey. In fact, the vampire squid is not a hunter at all. It's a scavenger, a detritivore that collects marine snow, a mix of dead plankton, fecal matter, and organic debris that drifts down from above. To capture this snow, the vampire squid uses 2 thin, retractable filaments, longer than its own body, that it extends into the water column like fishing lines. These filaments are covered in sticky mucus, which traps drifting particles. The squid then reels the filament back in and eats the collected matter. It is one of the few known animals that feed almost exclusively on this slow, silent rain of decay. Despite its name and appearance, the vampire squid poses no threat to any creature, not even plankton. It survives by being energy efficient, passive and elusive. Its defense mechanisms, however, are striking. When threatened, it performs what's called a pineapple posture, turning its cloak inside out, exposing the spiny insides of its arms, and forming a spiky orb to deter predators. It can also release clouds of glowing mucus, bright blue sparks and trails of light, a bioluminescent smokescreen to confuse attackers. It doesn't jet away like other squid, because sudden movement would require oxygen, something in short supply at these depths. Instead, it drifts away slowly like a ghost vanishing into the night. The vampire squid's massive eyes, proportionally the largest in the animal kingdom, help it see in near total darkness. They can appear red or blue depending on how the light strikes them, adding to the creature's eerie beauty. It is delicate, mysterious, ancient, and in the ocean's stillest corners where nothing should survive, it dances. Chapter 12. The Frilled Shark, the Sea Serpent Reborn. It coils like a snake. It lunges like a viper, and it has a mouthful of 300 needle-like teeth arranged in rows like a conveyor belt of horror. The frilled shark is a deep-sea relic, one of the oldest and most primitive sharks still alive today. Often called a living fossil, it has existed in some form for over 80 million years. It is a rare and elusive species, typically found between 500 and 5,000 feet below the surface, from Japan to New Zealand, South Africa, and Norway. The frilled shark gets its name from the frilly gill-like structures round its neck, 6 pairs of gill slits that give it a ruffled, almost ornamental appearance. but there's nothing ornamental about the rest of it. It can grow up to 6.5 feet long and has a long, eel-like body with a flattened head and blunt snout. Its jaws are armed with 25 rows of backward-facing trident-shaped teeth, perfect for trapping slippery prey like squid, fish, and even other sharks. Once caught in its mouth, escape is nearly impossible. What's most remarkable is its method of attack. The frilled shark doesn't charge at its prey. Instead, it coils its body like a snake and strikes in a sudden lunge, snapping its jaws around its target with lightning speed. This serpentine strike is unlike anything seen in modern sharks, and adds to the creature's eerie, otherworldly presence. Its movement is slow and undulating. Its skin is dark brown or grey, blending in perfectly with the surrounding gloom. It can hover in place for long periods, conserving energy in the cold, pressurized water. The frilled shark is rarely seen alive. Most sightings come from specimens accidentally caught by deep-sea trawlers, and even then, they often die before reaching the surface. When they do appear, their appearance is so strange that they've been mistaken for sea serpents, fueling legends of dragons and monsters that have haunted sailors for centuries. Despite its fearsome look, the frilled shark is not dangerous to humans. It's slow, reclusive, and lives too deep for any regular interaction. But its very existence, a prehistoric predator still gliding through the dark, reminds us that some nightmares never fade, but they just sink lower, waiting. It is the sea dreaming of its past, and in those dreams, the frilled shark still rules. Chapter 13. The Barrelé Fish, the Transparent-Headed Stranger. Imagine drifting in the abyssal black, only to spot a small hovering fish with a head as clear as glass, its eyes glowing a haunting green and pointing straight up through the top of its skull. Meet the barrelé fish, Macropina microstoma, a deep-sea marvel as bizarre as it is beautiful. First discovered in 1939, it wasn't until 2004 that scientists finally captured live footage of this elusive creature in its natural habitat, some 2,000 to 2,600 feet beneath the surface off the central coast of California. And what they saw was almost too strange to believe. The barrelé's claim to fame is its see-through dome-like head, which allows researchers and predators to peer directly into its internal organs. Through this transparent skull you can observe its two large tubular eyes, bright green and eerily unblinking, that rotate within their sockets. They point upward, allowing the fish to stare through the darkness above, searching for the silhouettes of prey drifting down from higher waters. When something of interest is spotted, the barrelé rolls its eyes forward and slowly maneuvers toward its target with nearly motionless fins. Its body is small, usually around 6 inches long, and it hovers in place with the grace of a meditating monk, using minimal energy in the oxygen-poor environment. The green pigment in its eyes helps filter out sunlight from above, enhancing its ability to detect faint bioluminescence from jellyfish and other creatures. Its main prey are siphonophores, colonial organisms related to jellyfish, and drifting gelatinous animals from which it delicately steals captured plankton without getting stung. The rest of the barrelé's body is relatively unremarkable, dark, torpedo-shaped, with a small mouth that opens just below its head. But that dome, that alien canopy of living glass, makes it one of the strangest fish ever seen by human eyes. It's not dangerous, it's not large. It doesn't hunt or chase or attack, but it watches, and in a world where light is a myth, that makes it a master. Chapter 14. The Giant Isopod, the deep sea's creeping armoured tank. In the abyssal plains, far beneath the reach of sunlight, there roams a creature that looks like it crawled out of a prehistoric nightmare, a massive, bug-like scavenger cloaked in armour. This is the giant isopod, Bathenomus giganteus, a deep-sea crustacean that can grow up to 20 inches long, making it the largest member of the isopod family, which includes pillbugs and woodlice. But unlike its smaller cousins that scuttle in gardens, the giant isopod lurks at depths of up to 7,000 feet, patrolling the ocean floor for anything it can consume. Discovered in 1879 off the Gulf of Mexico, it shocked scientists with its sheer size and strange design. Its body is segmented and protected by a hard, chitinous exoskeleton. It has 14 legs, 2 long antennae, and bulging compound eyes with thousands of individual lenses, perfect for detecting movement in near total darkness. Its appearance is alien, armoured, and oddly endearing to some, but deeply unsettling to others. It is a survivor, perfectly built for life in the crushing depths. The giant isopod is a scavenger, feeding primarily on dead whales, fish, and squid that sink to the seafloor. When food is scarce, it can go weeks or even years without eating. When a meal is available, it gorges until its body balloons and slows into torpor. Some specimens have been known to fast for 5 years in captivity, showing an extraordinary ability to conserve energy. These creatures rarely need to move quickly. Instead, they roam the sea bottom at a slow, deliberate pace, searching for carrion. Their claw-like legs help them dig into sediment, and their strong mouth parts can tear through flesh and bone. They pose no threat to humans, but their size and resemblance to oversized insects have earned them a cult following and a place in many people's lists of the ocean's creepiest residents. But beneath their eerie shell lies something more poetic. They are nature's cleaners, guardians of the deep, ensuring that even in death nothing goes to waste. Chapter 15. The sarcastic fringehead, the ocean's most aggressive mouth. In the rocky crevices off the coast of California lives a small fish with a big attitude and an even bigger mouth. The sarcastic fringehead, Neoclinus blanchardi, is a bizarre and fiercely territorial creature, known for its explosive aggression and dramatic threat displays. Measuring only about 8 to 12 inches in length, it may seem unassuming at first glance, until it opens its jaws. When two fringeheads confront each other, they don't bite or charge immediately. Instead, they open their cavernous mouths wide, so wide that the inside becomes a giant colourful flag, and press them together in a battle of size and dominance. It's a contest of gaping, a jaw duel that looks as ridiculous as it does frightening. Whichever fish has the larger gape usually wins, no biting required, just raw, primal intimidation. The sarcastic fringehead gets its name from the elaborate, fringed appendages above its eyes, which look like sarcastic eyebrows constantly raised in judgment. But its behaviour is anything but funny. It will attack divers, fish, crabs, or anything that gets too close to its burrow, be it a shell, a bottle, or a rock crevice. These fish are ambush predators, hiding in their lairs and lunging out to grab unsuspecting prey with their massive jaws. Their mouths are lined with needle-like teeth, and their strike is shockingly fast. Crustaceans, small fish, and mollusks make up most of their diet. They're solitary, stubborn, and almost absurdly aggressive for their size. Scientists have described them as one of the most territorial fish in the ocean. Despite their confrontational nature, sarcastic fringeheads serve a crucial role in the reef and rock ecosystems where they live. They help control smaller prey populations and compete for prime shelter spots. shaping the micro-communities of the seafloor. They are warriors, small, loud and unyielding. In the quiet, craggy cracks of the ocean, they are kings. Chapter 16. The Deep-Sea Dragonfish. The predator with invisible teeth. In the pitch-black waters nearly a mile beneath the surface, there drifts a creature as silent as shadow and as deadly as a nightmare. The deep-sea dragonfish, Grammatostemias flagellibarba, is a small but fearsome predator, perfectly adapted to a world where light has all but vanished. Ranging from 6 to 10 inches long, it may seem harmless in size, but its features are designed with eerie precision for life in the abyss. First described in the early 20th century, dragonfish live at depths between 1,500 and 4,500 feet, although some species can go even deeper. They belong to a group of fish known as stomids, and are scattered across many oceans, often detected only when accidentally caught in deep-sea trawls. What makes this predator truly unsettling are its transparent teeth. These needle-thin fangs are completely invisible in the darkness, having evolved to be anti-reflective and nearly undetectable even under artificial light. For prey, the moment of realization comes far too late, if at all. Its head is large and broad, its body elongated and muscular, and along its underside runs a line of photophores, tiny organs that emit a dim blue-green glow. These are used for counter-illumination, a camouflage trick that makes the dragonfish invisible when seen from below. But the real magic happens near its mouth. Hanging from its lower jaw is a glowing lure called a barbel. It pulses and flickers like a firefly, attracting curious prey toward its gaping jaws. When a small fish or shrimp draws near, the dragonfish lunges, its mouth opening wider than you'd think possible, its invisible fangs snapping shut in a flash. Unlike many deep-sea fish, the dragonfish can generate its own red light, a rare ability. Most deep-sea creatures can't see red wavelengths, which gives the dragonfish a secret spotlight. It uses this ability to scan the darkness for prey, remaining unseen while it searches with its invisible torch. And in a place where food is scarce and movement drains precious energy, every detail counts. The dragonfish is not dangerous to humans. It lives far too deep and is far too small. But its design is a masterclass in evolutionary engineering. It is patient, it is deadly, and it is nearly undetectable, even when it's right in front of you. In the deep where predators must become phantoms, the dragonfish reigns. Chapter 17. The Sea Pig, the strange pink wanderer of the abyss. At first glance, it looks like a cartoon character, a plump, pink, balloon-like creature with tiny legs and a snout. It's not a joke, it's not a myth, it's a sea pig. The sea pig, Scotoplanes, is a type of deep-sea holothurian, essentially a sea cucumber, that lives thousands of feet below the surface, usually between 3,000 and 5,000 meters deep. They inhabit the abyssal plains of the Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Oceans, often found in large herds slowly marching across the ocean floor. Discovered in the early 20th century and first photographed in detail during deep-sea expeditions in the 1970s, sea pigs have puzzled and delighted scientists and ocean lovers alike. Their soft, translucent bodies are supported by hydraulic feet, tube-like structures that inflate with water and allow the sea pig to walk across the seafloor. These legs can be raised or lowered depending on the terrain. At the front of its body are a set of antennae or a papillae, which help it sense its surroundings. These help it navigate the vast muddy plains of the deep sea in search of decaying organic matter, the only food source available in this barren environment. Sea pigs are scavengers. They feed on detritus, tiny particles of decomposing animals and plants that fall from the upper layer of the ocean, a rain of life in a world of death. Using their tube feet and sensitive mouthparts, they sift through sediment, digesting whatever nutrients they can find. Despite their squishy appearance, sea pigs play a critical role in the ecosystem. They recycle dead material, aerate the ocean floor, and provide shelter for smaller creatures like parasitic worms and juvenile fish, who often cling to their undersides for protection. When threatened, sea pigs inflate their bodies to appear larger, or release sticky mucus to deter predators like sea stars or larger benthic fish. They are not aggressive, and pose no threat to humans or other animals. Their pinkish hue comes from a lack of pigmentation in their soft tissue, giving them an almost translucent glow. In large groups, they resemble slow-moving herds of underwater balloons, peaceful, gentle, and bizarrely beautiful. There's something oddly calming about them. In a world ruled by hunger and pressure, the sea pig simply walks and eats and lives, quiet, soft, content. Chapter 18, The Black Swallower, the Deep's Greediest Predator. In the murky twilight zone of the ocean, where shadows twist and the water begins to crush, there exists a fish with an appetite that defies belief. Meet the black swallower, Chiasmodon niger, a fish that can eat prey more than twice its size and 5 times its weight. Yes, you read that correctly. First discovered in the mid-1800s, this strange predator is found at depths ranging from 2,000 to 10,000 feet in oceans around the globe. At first glance, it's not particularly menacing, just a dark, slim fish, growing no longer than 10 inches. But its jaw and stomach are evolutionary wonders. Its lower jaw is hinged and deeply cleft, allowing the black swallower to open its mouth impossibly wide. The skin of its stomach is stretchy and expandable, capable of accommodating enormous meals. When it encounters a prey item, typically fish like mackerel or lanternfish, it lunges, wraps its jaws around the prey, and begins a slow, astonishing process of swallowing. The prey may still be alive as it's engulfed head first, eventually disappearing into the predator's semi-transparent belly. Sometimes, if the meal is too large, the swallower dies of its own ambition. The prey decomposes before it can be digested, releasing gases that cause the predator to float to the surface, belly bloated, meal still visible inside. This gruesome fate has led to some of the most jaw-dropping, literally, deep-sea discoveries, with fishermen and researchers occasionally pulling up bloated black swallowers containing prey more than twice their own size. They're solitary and stealthy, using minimal movement to preserve energy. They drift near the sea floor or in mid-water, waiting for a flash of bioluminescence or a silhouette in the dark. Once locked on, they strike quickly, using their gaping jaws and expandable gut like a net. They're not dangerous to humans, but they are a reminder of the ocean's brutal efficiency. Down here, where meals are rare, you take what you can, and you take it whole. The black swallower is gluttony given form, a warning floating in the dark. In the deep, appetite has no limits. Chapter 19, The Goblin Shark, the living fossil with the slingshot jaw. Lurking deep beneath the waves, with a face that seems stitched together from nightmares and history, is a creature so strange that many didn't believe it was real when first discovered. The goblin shark, Mitsukurina ostoni, is sometimes called a living fossil because it belongs to a lineage of sharks that dates back over 125 million years. It was first identified in 1898 after a specimen was caught off the coast of Japan, but sightings remain incredibly rare, even today. This pale, pink-skinned shark lives between 300 and 4,300 feet below the surface, most commonly between 1,000 and 3,000 feet. Unlike most sharks, which are built for streamlined power, the goblin shark looks like a slow-moving relic. Its flabby body and soft, squishy skin give it a sluggish, ghost-like appearance. But what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in one of the most terrifying jaws in the animal kingdom. The goblin shark has an elongated, flattened snout covered in electroreceptors called ampullae of Lorenzini, which help it detect the faint electrical signals of prey in the dark. But it's the jaw that truly sets this creature apart. When it strikes, the goblin shark launches its entire jaw forward from its face in a slingshot motion, up to 10% of its body length. The jaws snap outward with shocking speed, snatching prey in a split second. Its long, needle-like teeth are curved and razor-sharp, designed to impale squid, fish, and crustaceans with ease. Once the strike is complete, the jaw retracts, almost like a horror movie effect played in reverse. Its coloration is another mystery. While it may appear bubblegum pink in photographs, that hue actually comes from its translucent skin, revealing the blood-rich capillaries underneath. Its ghostly colouring helps it blend into the deep-sea twilight. Despite its terrifying appearance, the goblin shark poses no threat to humans. It rarely comes to the surface, and most known specimens have been caught by deep-sea trawlers or found accidentally washed ashore. In the dark, forgotten trenches of the sea, the goblin shark waits, a relic of the past. Still alive, still hunting. Chapter 20. The Magna Pinna Squid, the Alien of the Deep. Imagine peering into the deep black void of the ocean, your submersible's light cutting a pale path through the murk. When suddenly a figure emerges, it floats in slow, spectral silence. Its arms stretch long and unnaturally straight, bent at sharp angles like puppet strings. Its body hovers motionless, its limbs dangling like curtains of silk. You are looking at Magna Pinna, the big fin squid. This deep-sea enigma was first filmed in the wild in 2001 by a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, off the coast of Hawaii. Since then, only a handful of sightings have been recorded, each one eerie, beautiful, and deeply alien. What makes Magna Pinna so shocking is its appearance. Its body is small, but its arms and tentacles can stretch up to 20 feet long, and they are always held perpendicular to the body, creating a haunting elbowed shape unlike any other squid. These limbs are covered in microscopic suckers, and researchers believe they are used to drag along the seafloor, brushing for small crustaceans and planktonic prey. Others suggest the squid uses its long arms like fishing lines, dangling them in the water column and waiting. Its fins, located on either side of its head, flap gently to keep it suspended. The movement is hypnotic, almost slow motion. This posture, combined with its alien appearance, has led many to compare it to beings from science fiction. Very little is known about the biology of Magna Pinna. No one has ever caught one intact. Most knowledge comes from deep-sea cameras, which capture only fleeting moments of this elusive animal drifting through the dark like a ghost in space. It is not dangerous. It does not chase or attack. It simply floats silent and strange in the world we've only just begun to explore. Of all the creatures in the ocean, Magna Pinna may be the most mysterious, and that is perhaps what makes it the scariest of all. It reminds us that there are still things in this world we cannot explain, still corners of the earth not yet touched, still monsters waiting. The ocean is a realm of contradiction. It is soothing and violent, empty and full, beautiful and terrifying. In its deepest reaches live creatures that defy our understanding, animals that glow without light, eat without eyes, hunt without haste. Each one plays a part in the strange, delicate machine of the deep. From the glass-headed barrelay to the ghostly big-fin squid, these beings reveal how life can twist and evolve in unimaginable ways. They may frighten us, they may amaze us, but they are not mistakes, they are masterpieces. So the next time you look out across the water, remember what sleeps below. Good night, traveller of the deep.